Well, that was rather spooky.
I think I told you not to trust her. She's all about that game. Don't go and fall in love with that girl. She will only cause you pain. Don't think she loves you, she don't mean it. Just look the other way. She's coming at you, you better run.
Hi guys, Liz here, aka Isabel Sharon. That was rather spooky, wasn't it? The reason why I played that at the beginning is, well, that's me. A couple of weeks ago, I was asked by Sergio Delacruz if I could do the vocal for a little character he was placing in his Sansar project, which is the Orphanage, and it's that little girl which he's made, and apparently her name is Isabel. Okay, I just had to tell you. I was asked to sing a little nursery rhyme of some wording, which at first was difficult for me because of the translation from Italian, but those wordings are very specific to that experience. And anybody that knows me knows I cannot sing. I cannot sing. So I must have done it about 100 times trying to get it to sound like anything. And of course he tweaked it a little bit because he had to make me sound a lot younger than I am, because you know I'm not a child, am I? No. But yeah, I had to show you because like I'm quite chuffed with that, and it was very nice to be asked to share my voice within Sansar. So anyhow, I've just not long got home from work, but by the time I get this out, it's going to be probably near my bedtime, because I roll like that. Yeah, what an interesting week the last week has been, and it's all been sort of second life related traumas, or maybe traumas is too much of a harsh word actually, but it's been non-stop. Social media has been going nuts because for a start, Linden Lab have had to, as far as I'm aware, suffer some doxing or DDos. I can never say it anyhow. That issues which started I believe last weekend, because that's when I noticed I couldn't log in, and there's been all sorts of problems for the last week. So it seems that they've been under some sort of attack by some twits. I call them twits, you know, people that think that they are really smart and think that they're doing something, and for what reason I don't know. We never know these things, just apart from the fact they've got too much time on their hands is how I feel. Too much time. So that caused problems for a lot of residents. I'll go into the panic, but I think more so I'm always concerned. I'm not concerned about myself or people like me, because you know what, you don't log in, tough, you know, find something else to do. However, there are people in there that rely on it for incomes. So there are merchants and other types of people in there that use the virtual world, and it's their economy. So for them, it's obviously caused some real problems. And you know, for other people, it's about events that they'd set up and you know, couldn't continue with at those moments when they were logged out, that kind of thing. So it's really inconvenient, but I think for merchants it's probably more than inconvenient. It affects their businesses. However, can I touch on how ridiculous people are? I did actually see someone I know, I did laugh out loud, as that saying goes. I did laugh out loud, and my son was like, "What's so funny?" And I went, "You don't want to know," because he finds this whole virtual reality a bit nuts, actually, to be honest. But I saw someone commented that they felt that Linden Lab should compensate them for the fact that they couldn't log in. Why? Why should they compensate anybody? I mean, at the end of the day, they're a business being attacked. It's not their fault. You know, they do everything within their powers to try and correct it and fix it, because obviously it is their business, and they, you know, they try and aim for no downtime because it affects them as a business. Why should they compensate anybody? It's a bit like me going to the supermarket, and because the supermarket was attacked by, I don't know, a bunch of I don't know, laughing hyenas, and I couldn't get my groceries, I should get compensated by the supermarket, when in actual fact it's the laughing hyenas and whoever was responsible for them that would have to compensate. It's kind of a silly thing, which sort of like leads me on to how much many of us actually take for granted that we can log in and log out whenever we want. I mean, the fact remains, and I've always said this, that if you have strengthening friendships in there, you need to ensure that if you can't log in, and if you have strengthening friendships, that you have perhaps a virtual created account that you can keep in touch, so that you don't panic when you can't log in. You can let someone know that you can't log in for whatever reason, but also that you have a backup in place for how you're going to occupy your time. And I speak from personal experience with a couple of people I know who spent most of their time trying to log in, absolutely, when they could have gone and done something else. Like, I went and watched films. I went and caught up on some films, or I fixed some pictures that I'd already taken. It was, I mean, I'm a blogger, and of course I've got timelines for when I need to put out posts, but you know what? I don't stress out over it. As far as I'm concerned, if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done, because all the powers that be, I'm not paid to do this. So I'm not going to knock myself out and sit there all day waiting to log in, because I think, why should I? Because this is affecting everybody. And I think I just wanted to make a comment on the panic that it caused. There's no need for the panic. Absolutely no need for the panic. Walk away, go find something else to do. That was the comment I had to make. I know I never really draw on Second Life in my coffees, but I had to, because this last week has been full of drama. The other one was, of course, Flickr's announcement. Flickr's announcement that if you're a non-paying member, you can have 1K or 1,000, however you like to put it, of photographs on their system, and of course that the prices were going up for the pro members. Now, again, there was a whole exodus, or people threatening that they're leaving, and Flickr doesn't know what it's doing, and all this kind of thing. Well, Flickr's a business, and Flickr, we are well aware that Flickr merged with another company earlier this year. So of course things are going to change. They're a business, they're here to make money, they're not here to support thousands. And I'm not talking, because if you bear in mind, the Second Life community is not the only community that hosts on their website thousands of photos. There are other people that do this from other communities and personal accounts, and so they are hosting on their website all of these free pictures, and they don't get a penny for it from the free people. And of course it makes perfect sense for them to limit for free accounts, like any other website does. It limits what you can do on it, and I think that is totally fair. I'm a pro account. I have been a free account, but I became a pro account because I knew that there were going to be changes, number one, and also because I store personal pictures on Flickr, which are not publicised, but I do that as a storage point as well. Oh, that's my cat creating havoc in the background. But that was my decision, and I know it's not cheap, but you know what, I pay monthly. And so if you don't have to pay for the yearly, you can actually pay for the monthly, and that is what I do. I pay for monthly. I have previously paid for a year in advance, but I thought, I just pay monthly, and that's what I've been doing. So I did see someone make this comment, and I thought it was a very apt comment to make, and that is, if you can afford fat packs of clothing within the virtual world, then consider the value if you want to store this stuff on this website. Now, Instagram's okay, and I've noticed there's been a mass exodus to Instagram. I've been on Instagram actually for quite a long time with my virtual characters. I didn't create this recently. I've been using it for a long time. I've never really overly driven to add people to it. It's just been another sort of thing that I've done. I've never really looked for SL people before, but I've suddenly just seen this mass exodus. Bearing in mind, I don't know if anyone's noticed it, but your links do not work. So if you put a link in the comments, you're not actually going to attract anyone to be able to click on it, because if they're only using a mobile device to look at your Instagram, they cannot link to where that picture is and what that blog post is. So you need to make sure that in your profile that you have a link to your blog. Okay, so please link in your blog where they can find you. And the recommendation is, seriously, if you are actively blogging, or a marketplace owner that is using Instagram, you need to change over to the business account, but make sure when you're doing that you quickly remove your phone number, because otherwise it's publicized for people to call you. I've been on that Business Pro account for quite a while as well, and that was a mistake I made. It's about a year ago when my phone number suddenly appeared on Instagram and someone called me. So please, when you do it, then go in and amend it so that your phone number's removed, because it will put your phone number there. So just a warning to that. And it's very handy to have because you do see the insights into how many it's looking and that kind of thing. So it's a kind of like a nice little tool to have. So always remember that you need to remove your phone number, otherwise it will sit there. And you know, when you see some Instagrams and it says call, well, they can call you. Yeah, as I discovered, because someone wanted to chat me up. And let me go into that. That's another side of my Flickr and Instagram. I'm just going to touch on this, which has got no, I'll go back to it in a minute, because I just needed to say about the Flickr. People panicked about it, and there's been explanations. Strawberry Singh explained to people, a lot on her website. I would recommend you go and read and listen to her, because she's very, very on point about everything. She got her information. I also contacted someone from Flickr, and the panic that was had on the couple of days that it was announced was kind of daft, because before you panic, you should always contact where the information has come from and just clarify the information, and not base it on hearsay, what other people say, because some people did get it wrong. We are not spam. We're spam if we're spamming real life photographic accounts with virtual pictures. So let's not do that. And I do see people do that. Just like I get spammed with dick pictures and minge pictures from real life accounts, which I happily report, and I also happily report anybody that tags me in porn. And I do get tagged in porn, and I find it really, really irritating to be tagged in porn, because that's not what my Flickr is about. So I can see why they've made some of these changes, because if it hits me, and because I've got a real life picture on my Instagram and my Flickr, I'm assuming the reason I get hit is because I've got a real life picture. But frankly, I don't, I don't work as a avatar. I'm Liz, aka Isabel Shireen, so hence I do have a real life picture. But yeah, so I have been hit quite a few times by this kind of thing, and I guess that they are trying to get rid of this kind of spam. And of course, merchants who advertise on their, and this is going to probably annoy a lot of people, me saying this, merchants advertise, and I'm a blogger, hey, but merchants advertise on Flickr, they advertise for free. Okay, have you ever stopped to think about that? Where can you advertise for free and make money? Yeah, exactly. You can't really, because if you're using a site, you do have to respect their terms of service. And if they're saying, hey guys, you can't use us for free and then advertise your products and make money from us, and point people to your website to make money, I think that's kind of like fair enough. If I was a business, I'd probably think exactly the same way. So I understand that. I think before people panic, go and watch Strawberry Sing's video, listen to her blog, read her blog. I think she's the most informed person out of all the people that have put information out, because she goes right to the root of the issue and gets the information. And I think go and do that. Do not listen to what other people are telling you. It's misinformation, it's Chinese whispers, and it just gets crazily out of hand. My God, doesn't it get out of hand? The panic, the absolute panic. And the thing I will say about Instagram, it's great to be on Instagram, and I think it's brilliant, but have you noticed the IMVU community, how huge they are on there? And have you noticed the IMVU community, and I was going to say this, who tag Second Life as one of their tags in their pictures that they put on there, which are done in IMVU. Interesting. I have noticed this. I've noticed this for a while, so I just thought I'd point that out to you, so you know, have a think about that. But they've got a very huge following in there. Very interesting how that works. But the thing about Instagram is, again, it's not a great place to advertise as such. It's a great place to network, and certainly put your pictures on there and that. But I would recommend Flickr. Flickr is such a... You have a really decent size of your picture. If you're going to rely solely on Instagram, don't, because your picture size is minuscule. Remember that. And you know, a lot of people access it on their phones. They're not looking at it on the computer, so they're not seeing the detail and the quality of all the hard work you put in. Because if you're going to rely on that, well, you might as well not use Photoshop. You might as well not go to all that trouble, because what's the point then? And that's the other thing. And like I said before, your links do not work. The only link that actually works on Instagram is the one that's in your profile. So where you're putting underneath your pictures your links, no one can click on them. No one can go anywhere. They'd have to actually sit there physically and write down, and no one's going to do that. So I recommend, if you are running a blog, you put it in your profile so it's there. And what you do is, underneath your picture, you write, you can see this, full details of this in my blog, which is in my profile. Send them to your link so that they go there, because they're not going to get there trying to click on that. And you'll see that if you go and click on other people's ones, you just get nowhere, absolutely nowhere. And the other thing I would recommend is, do not hashtag things that are non Second Life or virtual, you know, that kind of realm, because that actually annoys people. I discovered that when I was hashtagging blonde hair for my virtual girl. I soon stopped that. I was going to hashtag over 50s, because I have noticed that where I've done real life pictures and hashtag over 50s, I get a lot of offers for dates. I kid you not. I get so many messages in my real life. I mean, you know, you can go and look at my real life one. It's Lisbon Paris. I don't care, because a lot of Second Lifers found me there. I really don't care. It's public. I don't care. But you know, and I've been like starting to put more pictures on there lately, and I get these messages because you can message people, you know, wanting to get with it with me, and I'm like, I'm dying laughing because I find it hilarious. So yeah, Instagram's an interesting community at times. So yeah, basically that's all I wanted to touch on this week, because that's been like the topic of this last week. And yeah, I mean, I'll admit, even I panicked, because you know, when you go and see what everyone's saying, it's like an automatic thing. You're like, oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God. But then I decided to go and read, and then the first thing I did, because I didn't realise any of this was happening, and I saw it on my feed on the way home on the bus the other day, so I thought, right, I'm tracking you lot down, and I tracked them down to Instagram, Twitter and Flickr, and sent messages in all of those. And notice, I didn't copy and paste my messages, because they were done in private messenger. I don't do that. If something is sent to me and I have a correspondence with anybody, I don't screenshot it and share it with the general world, because I just think, and I did say that I'm not sharing this communication with the world, but just to let you know that people are up in arms, and I was assured that that is not the case. Anyhow, that's all I've got to say with Coffee and Isa, because I am now going to go and cook my dinner. We're having roast pork tonight with miniature roast potatoes and vegetables. Oh, and a lovely gravy. I just thought I'd tell you that. Oh, and Yorkshire puddings, because we didn't have any of that yesterday. Anyhow, I hope you have a great week. I hope you didn't mind that I ranted on about this subject, but it just cracked me up. But I'm going to, you know, end my video with my scary me because I just want to show off. Anyhow, have a good week. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
As I sleep, she approaches, but I'm just a child. Don't scare me tonight. All dressed in black, you stand by mother's side. Please don't me, but all the other children lying on the ground. I'm alone, where is my mom? I want to run away. Take me with